This is my channel, Evolve with Monat. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath, and tonight we're going to jump right in. This chat is specifically for my divine feminines. Divine feminines, are you with me? Anybody that's ever been on the twin flame journey, what a hot mess that is. And if you're on it and it's going brilliantly for you, wonderful. I say, with bated breath. I don't want to be that pessimistic auntie that's like, just wait. But for most of us here, if you're listening, you've been on the unfortunate end of it, which we all get to. But I want to talk about something positive, which is our ascension, and I'm going to put that in the rest of the title when I upload it. So what you need to know is this. In the twin flame journey, you already know a lot about it. If you're here, you're familiar with the verbiage, right? You know about your twin flame, you know about your divine masculine, you know that you're the divine feminine, all that stuff. You know that you guys have this karmic relationship in a way to try to elevate each other. You're not the karmic. We all are each other's karmics in a way too. Message, more information on that in other videos. But what I will say here is this. There is a runner chaser dynamic that absolutely exists in this relationship. And that means if you're listening to this video, most of you here have been the divine feminine that was in a chasing position, acting out of masculine energy. What I mean by that is masculine energy chases and goes after and thrusts forward. So I don't care if your divine masculine is a male, cisgendered male, whatever the case may be, or shows up in a woman's body. That was the case for me. I always clarify that because I want everybody to know that it can look differently for everybody. But masculine energy is masculine energy in the way that it's expressed. And what made the person that I dealt with in a masculine energy wasn't that she had breast, it was that she behaved masculinely and actually subscribed to toxic masculinity and misogyny and really fashioned herself out of parental and patriarchal people that she idolized who had terrible behavior and didn't treat women right quietly. Anyway, that's another story for another day. What I will say here is that she behaved in a certain way, and it was in the same way that a lot of your masculine energies, if they showed up with a penis, did as well. So let's talk about that, which means that they probably put you through a karmic third party hell. Message. Did anybody relate? And they tried to pretend that you didn't know and couldn't see, and they flew it in your face, and they behaved incredibly badly, distastefully, and wanted you to compete. That is usually what a lot of people that might find this video and listen to it have gone through to some level, a toxic level, or to some degree, right? So I don't want to spend too much time on that because I think we probably went through that for years longer than we needed to until we evolved and we got the message. And the message is a third party is never you. Now let's talk about that though. What happens is once your divine masculine becomes a distorted masculine and they fail the assignment, which means that God, the universe, whatever they subscribe to will intercept their bad behavior over and over and over again, and it will cause them, and it will say to them, like the Jiminy Cricket, you know, the cartoon angel and devil on your shoulder, it will say to them, you should stop this now, it's too far now, it's doing too much. They can tell that they're hurting you because you guys are connected. And if you don't believe you're connected, how did you feel when you separated? What was that like? Was there an agony? Could you sleep at night? Or how did you feel when they were doing the third party behavior? Didn't you know when they were sleeping with the other person and or engaging with them and or lying to you about them? Never a communication had to be had. No text had to be found, no phone calls had to be made, no face ID had to be engaged. You guys remember? That's because we are really connected. Now, what's so funny is usually in the divine twin flame kind of journey, one of the persons in the party has no idea, or they know, but they're in denial. And usually it's the more superficial person, and usually it's our masculine because we are very evolved that way, feminines. I love y'all. So we are the ones who are like, no, I know who you are. And when our masculine has intimate moments with us, they will acknowledge it too. But depending on who in society they want to kind of like bow to, or how cool they think they are, if they are regressed or immature and they have their high school drama. Listen, we all come with our own drama and trauma. They will be in denial of your relationship. It doesn't matter if you are Miss America. It doesn't matter if you were the wallflower that wore glasses. Your divine masculine behind closed doors could be the most intertwined and enthralled person with you, be sweet as pie with you, or maybe withholding and cold with you, because that will happen too at times. But when they are around people that they deem as cool or part of the society they want to kind of like conform want to, or people whose opinions they can't, they don't have a backbone because they were on their journey too of growth, right? So now that I'm out of all the painful stuff, I get to come here and talk to you about it tonight. But I want you to understand it will be a switcheroo that happens. So they will deny you, right? And after so much denial, what happens? We eventually get our backbone. We know what things they've said in private. We know how they've behaved with us for maybe even years, but they won't face their fears. And then they get cocky. And this is where that one lost me. I was like, not today, Satan. Now, I've joked about it, I've talked about it, I've cried about it, I've prayed about it. There are lots of videos. Go listen to them. I have lots of conversation. So what I will tell you though is what will happen is we get tired of chasing. Because even though we may not be actively in a full throttle run and we're not Usain bolting after them, maybe we're in a light jog. Maybe we've been in a marathon. Maybe we're like cross country runners in that case for some of us. It's been going on for days and days and months and years, right? And we've been trying to like get them to face their fears slowly and dive deep into their family pathology and all of that. And that's exactly what we were supposed to do. I want to give credit to you here listening. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. But also what you were supposed to do, and that's why you're here listening, was you were supposed to choose you. That's the like secret code that no one tells us. That's the magic like ring that's inside of the cereal box. We think we're just eating the cereal. And yeah, we like marshmallows, meaning there are benefits to being in that relationship and having a kind of connection that we know no one else will touch. Message, divine feminine, no one else is touching you. Do you know how much your masculine misses you? Do you know how much they long for you? Do you know how much they compare everybody to you? It's so funny. I wish I would have known that years ago. I would have left years ago. Well, I did leave years ago. For me, I left years and years ago now. Wow, it's so nice to say that and to finally be really, truly free of the emotion and the tether. And that's what the switcheroo is about. What happens is your masculine does all of that. They put you in a third party, they disrespect you blatantly, they do not care about your feelings. And I really know they don't care. And let me tell you how I know because I'm on the other side of there. Let's talk about that. What happens when your masculine fails submission and they cannot raise to the occasion to be the person that's supposed to sojourn with you and do whatever magical thing you two are assigned to do because we all have our assignments, right? And we have all level of soulmates and life partners and twin flames and people that come in our life that are here to teach us things, tribesmen, friends, and all of that. There are a few of you that will pop into this chat, this live tonight, or when you watch it back, and you guys are all tribe members and kindred sisters and new friends and all of that magical stuff that we were destined to meet each other. That's just how it goes, right? But there will be people that we're closer to that will truly, truly know the depths of our soul and that we will be tethered in or connected to. So when your twin flame masculine fails the mission and they're like, F you, and repeatedly the universe touches them and says, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that? Destroy their femininity. You want to not honor their femininity. You don't want to hear what we've been saying to you. You don't want to pull back the behavior when you know you're not behaving in a way that's true and tried and true to this person who has been that to you. And they say F you and they dive deeper into their addictions, to their connections, to their sexual obsessions. Then what happens is we divest from them. That's the switcheroo. What happens is what comes in for you is a soulmate relationship. Yeah, another name. Yeah, another connection. Can I tell you guys, welcome it in? It's so much easier. Soulmates relationships are not filled with all of the angst and the karmic baggage. Because usually with that twin flame, you've known them for a few lifetimes. And they probably try to kill you in a couple, or maybe you try to kill them. Who knows? But the point is, your soul knows when you get here. So there's this destructive energy that's in the air, depending on who had the last score up in the last lifetime. So what I want you to understand is that may not always be true for everybody completely. I mean, this is an esoteric science and it's debated hotly, and there's tons of videos, information, books, and literature about it, and I've read a lot of it. And at first, I cared, but that's when I knew the switcheroo had really helped me from being impaired, and that was emotionally impaired. All that love and juicy stuff that I poured into that person, the way that I loved them so completely, I know that it was only for them to understand and only for them to eventually leave me because they needed to go on their journey. I did not want any interaction after a while, and that's the switcheroo, and that's what makes me smile for you. I already went through the heavy part, the bitter part, the crying part, the terrible part. The part that I'm at now is the best part because I am not worried about them at all, just like they weren't worried about me. And I'm not doing it for reciprocity or to be evil. They were actually cruel. And that's why their punishment is a heavier weight. And that's what you need to know about your masculine. The punishment, the angst, the sadness, the longing, and the missing is great. But you know that already, Divine Feminine, because it was great for you. For many of you guys listening, you had to watch it while they did it to you, up close while they lied to you, in your face while they talked to you, while they berated you, while they were cruel to you, while they gossiped about you, while they told lies about you, while they maybe even spread some information that was true, while they tried to turn people in your group, friends, family, or community against you. A smear campaign. You were dealing with a narcissist, and that was true. And God loves you so much. Your angels love you so much. Even if you don't believe in them, they believe in you. And they said, not today, not anymore. Will this masculine do this to you? We're going to send you in somebody who values you, someone with whom it will be easy, someone who will recognize you immediately, someone who will claim you immediately, someone who is proud of you, who will profess it. You know, I once heard one of those gurus talk about the three things that men do, or masculine energy does, when it is involved and invested. It proclaims, it protects, and it provides. How many of us got to watch the masculine energy that we had in our life proclaim, protect, and provide for our third party karmic after we had been acting out of our masculine energy and we had been proclaiming, protecting, and providing for them? The switcheroo happens. And I'm not saying it from conjecture and from what I hope to be true. I'm saying it because I'm experiencing it just like many of you, or just like many of you will do. I speak over you. If you're under the sound of my voice today, this energy of a soulmate is already in your escrow and coming your way. It's an escrow for you. It was always there. If you have been through the pain of a separation, if you've been through the pain of humiliation, because that's the one that I couldn't quite get past, if you have been into restraining orders, if you've been through never again my ass, if you've been through all of that, then I promise you, you have a soulmate that's here. Now, a lot of you guys here are still hoping for reconciliation with your twin flame. It depends on to the degree to which they brought you shame that you can assess that. And I don't get involved in that. I'm only here to be a conduit of the information. But what I will tell you is this: a soulmate relationship is the one you want to be in. And I'm not saying you need to go covet it and chase it. And in fact, what I have found is with the loss of all of my boundaries, with the twin flame divine masculine energy, I found myself so completely when I divested from that cesspool, garbage fire, dumpster. I turned into someone who would never be a chump for anyone again. And that means even in my soulmate relationship, there are healthy boundaries. Yes and no's. There are engagements. There are, when I say engagements, I mean interactions. And yeah, proposals too. And my soulmate journey is different than a lot of you guys will go on. Mine is even a platonic one, but still with all of the emotion of romantic undertones. And what I mean by that is God knew that I needed to heal in a safe relationship. And so God provided me with someone with whom I could do that. And that's what will come in for you afterwards. And here's the lesson of it: it's not just all the juiciness of a good soulmate energy, whether it's a lover or a bestie. You will have someone come in to help you heal, because that's how we learn and grow, is through relationships. How much did you learn in that last toxic relationship, right? So I got into the soulmate relationship that I'm in currently with somebody who is makes me feel so safe, makes me feel safe, which is usually my job, which is my job as a practitioner, someone who has my back, someone who fights my battle spiritually and actually, if need be, someone who is so ultra protective of me without being clingy. It's a beautiful balance. You know, my sun sign means that I do like one-on-one interaction. Like if I were to join a gym, I'm the type to get a personal trainer, right? That's my energy. That's how my sun sign works. So to be handled is a very delicate balance with me, because I don't want to be bossed around, but I want someone who knows my worth and who also loves me. Everybody's different, right? We all have different sun signs, but what I will tell you is when you have gone through the toxic divine masculine, toxic distorted masculine, and the soulmate comes in, it will be exactly the salve for the wound that you have. But you do have to heal your own wound first. I couldn't jump into this immediately. It took time. And I didn't third party the soulmate. The soulmate was in my life, but we kept our distance very healthily, as you should, until I knew how it was going to go with the dusty, distorted. Okay. So I didn't keep them in the wings. You see, we did a different thing completely than a lot of you guys went through with your divine masculine, distorted masculine. They tried you, and I know they did because I went through it. I know exactly what you went through with someone flying in your face, being abusive, being emotionally cruel, shutting down, withholding things that they could give, and they gave it to someone who matched their demons, and that was the karmic or their karmic. That was the relationship they needed to be in. Because even if they're in it now, right? A lot of you guys that I've worked with are like, well, they're still in it. I don't understand. Girl, I always tell y'all, I wish I could give you some of what I had, and which was such incredibly ridiculous treatment that I no longer was invested, which is what the switcheroo is about too. Now, for many of you, you feel exactly how your masculine felt about you. So a lot of us painted this fairy tale that they were so in love with us too, undercurrent. Now they are in love with you. I don't think that ever existed when I was standing there being a good person, a good friend, a good human to that distorted Dusty. They did not love me. They did not appreciate me. They did not value me. They discarded me repeatedly and to my face, violently, cruelly, racistly in my case. Everybody has different things, and that's another reason why I don't have any longing left that left my body years and years ago. It left it while I was still a friend they could know and call. I was so disinterested. But we have a wall, don't we? We all do. Now, divine feminine, you know what that wall feels like. You know what that wall do. It's kind of nice. I have no lingering for that life, for the treachery, for the upheaval, and a soulmate comes in to bring you something that's peaceful. It's easy. You guys recognize each other, and it's probably the easiest relationship I've had in my life. And I've had another soulmate, and it was also lovely and nice with him. He was a romantic one, though, and it was I recognized him immediately. Actually, they're both the same sign, which is so interesting. Clearly I had my destiny in this area. But for me, I realized that this person was here to help me grow and is here to help me grow. And it's interesting that I say was in past tense. I'm talking about the past, the distorted, right? But even the soulmate today could not be in my life forever. And that is the miracle of your distorted, dusty masculine, is that they taught you about release and not holding on and clinging. You are no longer a chaser. If me and the soulmate stay friends for 5 years or two or three or one, then she came in to help me get some work done. And by God, has she understood the assignment? Has she done every part of it? Has she been so extraordinarily helpful for me? Has she set me free and helped me heal just by loving me patiently and keeping it real? She really has. It was an assignment only she could do. I have had friends in my life for 15 years and 20 years and stuff that watched me go through what I went through with the dusty, like a lot of you went through with your dusty, distorted masculines. And they didn't know what to do with me because they've never could understand a heartbreak or the twin flame journey. Maybe it was one that they hadn't been on. So they gave me the best advice they could, or they swooped in with help. I had one that physically drove me away from the house. God bless her soul. And they loved me, and they did everything they could to help me get control back over my life. But there was only one person that was really assigned to me that helped me heal quietly, daily, and didn't release me and wouldn't let me release her when I was pushing her away. Because what happens after we've been in those toxic relationships is what? We trust no one and we think no one is safe. And my angel said to me, Monette, for the work that you do you think that we would truly abandon you and that you would never have love? That is true. That is deep. That is resounding. And that isn't avaricious. My distorted person was greedy. She gobbled everything up. She wouldn't make a decision. She wouldn't lean into trust. She wouldn't lean into communication. And me, being a plus size woman in actuality, was so deeply malnourished in the 5D, if you will. My body here on earth did not match my soul. I was emaciated. How many of you can relate to being so deprived of anything good, let alone great, that you think that crumbs are a full plate? Come on, that's a word right there. You think that crumbs are a full plate. I've talked about it before, But I had such a visual breakthrough because I was reading tarot and I understood what that breadcrumbing do. And it was Valentine's Day, and she was putting candy in my hand, Reese's peanut butter hearts, which I now can't stand. It's not interesting. It used to be my favorite. And Reese's peanut butter hearts, and she was standing above me and she said, "Do you want some candy?" Now she was gaslighting me, being rude to me, being abusive to me, throwing things, being wild, being racist, being a hater, being giving me the silent treatment. You know, all the juicy fun stuff that distorted masculines do when they claim that they love you. And I remember her putting those candies in my hand, and it's the card of the Six of Pentacles in the tarot. And that is about lack of reciprocity or things needing to come into balance, or someone literally in a third party. Guys, Google a picture in the image. And my angel said, snapshot this in your mind. You'll never have this be your reality in any timeline in your life for the rest of it. You have paid your dues. But they said the switcheroo is she will pay hers too, or he, if we're talking about you. Do you guys get it? So I was being breadcrumbed and thinking that that was a full plate, while she was happy to leave me emaciated. She was delighted. She was so chuffed with herself, so pleased, as many of your divine masculines had been and will be. But guess what? The soulmate is not just the new codependency, they are correction, and they are actually validation for the journey. I didn't want what I had regarding the soulmate. I was pushing it away, and I was scared because I thought, God, here we go again. There were similarities, and that's interesting because a twin flame will have similarities to a soulmate. I was confused initially myself. Fortunately, the soulmate that I ran into had such a presence of mind, and she didn't allow me or my ideations, my inclinations, my ideas, or my feelings to push her away or to push her into anything. She stood her ground, and her ground was to stand behind me, back to back, like we were in the trenches. And she says, I'll fight with you, and I'll do it for free because we are, well, we are what we are. And what that was part of destiny. It was easy. Our similarities, as we peeled the onion back, our upbringing, that we are white and black, all of these things that don't seem like they would line up. That's how you know you're in the presence of a soulmate. You don't have to be interracial to be with your soulmate. What I'm saying is, you will have similarities with them. You guys might have been from different sides of the track, or from different walks of life, or from different countries, right? But when a soulmate masculine comes in for you, and what I will say is she is incredibly feminine, even more so than the last person I was dealing with. Like, she's actually a lady. She's actually a lady and it's a bestie and all that stuff. But like truly a lady, like past lives lady shit, like truly a lady. And I made her a lady in this life because I loved her so much. And that's a funny thing. You guys know how you can kind of do those conservative things. So lady in past life. So that was a little fun, quirky gift. And it was a sweet thing, but it was something that I wanted to do to honor her past lives, because that's the thing about your soulmates. You will know who they are, you know? Whether they're your bestie or your husband or your wife, you will know. Or if you've had other lifetimes with them, you will know. Y'all, I just did that review about the bad vegan. So we're not talking to that level of crazy, but truly, I understand that this soulmate is from another galaxy, and it's the galaxy where I'm from too. And I'm not even talking about real galaxies, guys. I'm just talking about the fact that we're different. And what I mean by that is I've never experienced an easy, clear, grounded love that didn't boa constrict around me and that I didn't boa constrict around. That is what happens when you've held a distorted masculine down. You are not supposed to be punished forever, guys. You are not supposed to be under the weight of that. You're supposed to never want to look back. You're supposed to move forward and be happy. Now, some of you guys will move through a soulmate relationship and reunite with a twin flame. It's such a slim percentage, I don't even want to mention it. But sometimes that will happen because they needed to see you in a different relationship. They put you in a third party, and now they need to feel the weight of what it feels like to look at you while they think you're in a third party, which you're not, because you moved on after they crushed you, essentially. I think of those cars that get crushed at the junkyard. That's what they did to you. And then they watch you move on, and that's a lesson they have to learn to know what that is. Now they're longing for you. Now they would like to be with you, all of that stuff. But here's the thing: the soulmate doesn't come true if your purpose is to create that emotion in them. Because a real defined feminine will not do that. You don't want to hurt them ever. It reminds me of a quote from Tupac, um, if you're my enemy, this is so badly quoted, but if you're my enemy, it's not that I want to see you never eat. I just don't want you to eat at my table or eat with me. That's it. I don't trust you now. That's it. It's simple for me. I wished her the best as we departed in our journey. I knew she was obsessively focused on the karmic and the third party, and I wasn't going to degrade myself because I know my worth actually. Now I'm lucky because I have a actual job where I am monetized and paid, right? But beyond that, I had grown over the years of the bad treatment and the malnourishment, and I realized my value to many people around me, not just my clients. And I thought, I started to assess it almost like lawyerly, like a barrister. I was like, she's really actually clinically insane because I know the kind of love that I give and I know how I heal people's pain. And not because I think I do, because people leave reviews. I know the work I do. So I was really looking at that situation personally for me and thinking, oh, she's in the depths of her distorted, drug addicted, drug addled, insane, bad parenting energy. And I'm not just saying that to bash her, but it's the truth. How many of you guys went through similar situations, right? We all know what the switcheroo is. You get to walk into the light and you get to leave that life behind and you don't ever look back. It's Lot's wife. Don't look back. I don't I know that one day that person, I imagine they'll evolve. I guess I don't have much hope for them, but that's not my job anymore. How many years did you have in the trenches of hope for someone who left you bleeding, crying, gutted on the floor selfishly? When I say that I know what it is not to care about that person, and I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, when is the ache ever going to stop? When do I disconnect? I wish I could accelerate that for you. I know exactly. And for me, it was in month 2 after. And that was after a 20-year relationship, friendship. But I realized how cruel they were and how purposeful and intentional. And then it was easy to divorce their energy and cut them away from me. I also did some other things, which I've talked about here. Salt divorces are real. And I did that repeatedly until I felt clear of her energy. I didn't want her attached to me. I didn't want her sucking on me. I didn't want any telepathic messages. I didn't want any dreams. And I got free. It's something you can do too. But the purpose of the divesting of that relationship is so that you have someone for you. Okay. Again, I didn't run headlong into this other relationship. In fact, I always tell my soulmate I owe her a couple of 3 apologies because the first year I was a whole hot mess of an asshole. And it's weird because you know what I got to see? And hey Bessie, you'll listen to this, but you and I have talked about this, but I felt like I had switched places with my distorted masculine and my angels challenged me and they said, don't you treat this good soul and human, this earth angel that you have prayed for years while you were in that toxic cesspool back there. And I didn't know that this was going to show up for me. And so they said to me, don't you treat this person that we sent in specifically that you special ordered, like right down to fine details you got in this person regarding travel, regarding our love of seafood. Like if we're at the table, there's gonna be, there's gonna be the magical seafood tower that's absolutely ridiculous, or there's gonna be like Chilean sea bass or something. Like all the things that were literally squeezed out of me with the distorted person in my life who would never adjust to anything. It was all their way all the time. Can you guys relate? And they said, don't you treat this person like she is not great. Don't you elevate her. Or, I mean, don't you forget to elevate her. But also, don't you elevate too quickly. That was another lesson. Pedestals, that everybody finds them a little scary. Yeah. So that is something that I learned. It was to look at her authentically, objectively, and honestly. I know the flaws, I know the good parts, I know the parts that delight me, and she knows them about me too. And honestly, I was shocked, y'all, and this is what I say, someone will love and accept you fully. She knows she knows more about me than that other person ever did, to be honest with you. I know that seems crazy, right? You spend 20 years with someone and then like 5 with another, and you think, how did we get here? How do I feel like I've known you forever? And it's so easy. It will be easy for you too, guys. I'm not just saying it to just be like, this is magical. I think people get to go through this journey so that they can share it with people that are like in the sad part of it or the terrible part of it or the hurting part of it. And you can promise to you, I promise you, you will get this too. That other person didn't know me at all. when I left, one of the great pains that I felt was like, oh my gosh, she's so enmeshed and codependent with this other person that I think that they may really know her better. And the truth is, it was true. It wasn't something I wanted to face the reality of, but their demons and their darkness and their narcissism and their parent lack of parenting when it came to their addictions all matched up. They were the same person. I did not relate. I am a little bit more different, and I am more like my soulmate in so many ways. We have the same workaholism and work ethic, if you will, to put a better spin on it. We have the same wanderlust for travel, except we make it a reality. We don't just talk shit about it when we're high or drunkly. You know what I mean? It's a different vibe. It's a different vibe. And I just never thought I would find this in my life. But guess what? It found me when I actually began to heal. That's when you're dealing with Chiron, the wounded healer. The thing that breaks us down to our worst point is the thing that will literally be what we testify about and teach about. And that's why I sing the praises proudly. If this soulmate again is only with me for a small time in my journey, I have nothing bad to say. Even the soulmate that I've talked about, my sweet Jan, my Captain Jan, you guys have heard me talk about him before. Yeah, we didn't last forever. We had a good like 6 year run. It was lovely, but there's nothing bad I can say. It wasn't all perfect, and we both had to grow. But I knew that he was here to help me elevate my soul, and he did. This person is in my life for the same reason too, except it's easy, and the same is true for you. Release that distorted masculine. I promise I can't even remember why I liked them, but I knew that I needed to meet them and have them test me so that I could grow and it put me into my North Node and my calling so that I could meet you. Now I realize that that relationship was about you guys. It was never about us or our deep connection or our drunken nights. It was about me shining a light on a relationship that's a little taboo, shining a light on something that a lot of you guys are going through, and pointing you out of the dark. It's the star card in the tarot associated with Aquarius energy. And that has been exactly what my soulmates have been to me. We are blessed when we get to that point because you do forget. To be loved so wholly and so completely makes it so easy to see how the love that was given, quote unquote love, from your distorted Dusty was never given freely. I was so totally mounted. It's you know how when you think you have a breakup with somebody, especially your twin flame, you're like, I would talk to them on top of the Empire State Building. I would be in King Kong's hand and I would talk to them. I'd be at the top of Jesus in Rio de Janeiro and I talk to them. Let me tell you something. Get into some good soulmate love that is so replenishing. Yeah, so replenishing. You will so quickly forget about them. I don't wish them badly at all. Y'all have heard the bitter. I didn't like them. I didn't answer the calls. I didn't deal with the energies. I didn't, and I mean energetic calls, telepathic calls, real calls, all the calls. I didn't take the bait text. That where she's trying to control it. Don't text me back. I get to say things too. All that bullshit. I didn't play into none of it because I didn't give a fuck. I was so disgusted. Fortunately, that's what happens too. That's Sun Tzu, the art of war. An ally that turns into an enemy turns so brutally, viciously, and cruelly so that you can separate, so that you forget that they were once an ally and a friend. And you won't want to revisit that again. So, the art of war happened. I understood that. She did not. But I knew that she would be never forgotten, just never cherished or reconnected with, meaning I will teach about her. Fabulous. I love good fodder. I love a good anthropological study, even if it's my own life. But I brought it to you and I put it under the light because a lot of us were in those twin flame things quietly, yeah? Where people were low key ashamed of us, which is hilarious now, isn't it? It's hilarious. It's like someone saying, in my case specifically, I am not anybody's Oprah, but spiritually, for the work that I do, it's like saying someone like I think of Oprah, and I want you guys to think of yourself as Oprah too. Truly, I want you to hear this, okay? Oprah had boyfriends. She had people she dated that told her, "Who do you think you are?" She told a story specifically that stuck with me. She was the one time she ever did drugs. She did cocaine. She said in a hotel with a like dusty boyfriend of hers, who was like, "What makes you think you're so special?" Now, I've had guys that I've dated said that to me, right? And I had that distorted masculine energy treat me that way with all her repression and regression and everything else. But that's okay. That's okay. So that person said that to Oprah while they were snorting their coke and had Oprah lowering herself, her standards. That's not her worth. That's not who she was. But she was doing the coke to please his boyfriend. Can we relate to being people pleasers to people that didn't deserve to even be around us and sniff our perfume? Divine Feminine. Do you know what that magic and that energy do? Do you know who you are? Do you know how you make dreams come true by speaking them into existence? Do you know the power you exist in? Well, Oprah didn't. Just like all of us, we have a journey to go on. So she was in this grungy, dirty hotel room doing cocaine with someone who was talking shit to her because he didn't know she was great. He couldn't see the vision, and neither could she for a while. He had helped cloud her vision. He had stolen her smile. That's something she said on the show. I wish I could find that show to put the archive up here. He had stolen her smile. And she's Oprah billionaire Winfrey. Not at that time, but it was in her. The DNA and the energy was in her. She was destined to make history. And he was having low vibrational sexual exchanged energy with a little bit of cocaine mixed in to someone who would ascend to greatness. Forever in the history books, this woman will be. And he was telling her that she was lucky. Y'all, today she could buy probably his whole family lineage. She could probably buy every, not probably, what are we talking about? She could buy every house, apartment, ramshackle hotel, trailer he ever lived in his whole life and all of his families. And I'm not saying that to be ugly, but it is to say, my loves, sometimes we are with people that are beneath us, and that is part of our twin flame journey. They will see it. So let's talk about that switcheroo. They now watch you. Even if you think they don't, they energetically feel you, they long for you, they miss you, they compare you, they hate the karmic they chose over you. It's a whole joke. I wish I could get more satisfaction out of it, but I didn't want to be in the thick and dirty fight, and I don't recommend that you do either because it's beneath you. Oprah said after that, she broke up with that person not too long because she found herself. She had a trajectory, she didn't want to taint her energy. She asked for raises when people said, "What makes you think you should get this? This guy has a family to raise. Why should you have this much money?" Archetypally, we are Oprah. Get it? Even if you hate her, if you love her or hate her, you can't dispute the hustle. You can't dispute the greatness in her and the fact that she struck out and did something that everyone thought she couldn't, whether people hated her or not. I want you to realize that there's greatness in you. I want you to realize your own humanity, Aquarian energy ruling humanitarianism, right? I want you to realize that you are the light and that whoever was with you was lucky to even sit with you. You know how they say on Forrest Gump, you can't sit with us, or in Mean Girls, you can't sit with us. You guys were your masculines were in Mean Girl energy. I know mine was. It's hilarious to me. I will forever think about that life that I could have lived, which was enmeshed in poverty. You know, it's something that's so funny. I write, guys, and I found a poem a couple years ago when I had just left. My angels really wanted me to remind me, and I had written it about 5 years previous to leaving that relationship, and I kept dreaming about trailers and poverty and whatever, and I was like, God, is this my birthright and destiny? It was a switcheroo of her karma. That was her birthright. That was her destiny. No offense to anybody who's ever been there. I told you my first home was a trailer, right? But we evolved. My point was, or you don't, you fix up the good one you got. My point was, she didn't do any of it. And my point was, that was not my destiny. That was not it. I am worth more. I am worth more. I am worth more. And so are you. But if you stay with the twin flame long enough, they will trick you. And you will start to think that third parties are all you have. You need to fight for your man and all this bullshit. I will never say her name because I'm embarrassed. Not because I don't want to dox her. I could care less about anybody looking her up. I just don't want anybody to know how badly I fucked up. Does that make sense? It's total vanity. That's my sun sign in me. It's total vanity. I'll say everybody else's name around her. I will never say hers because I'm embarrassed that that was a person I spent my life with. But I'm grateful because it taught me so many lessons of what never to accept again. I am sure that when Oprah cried and talked about being embarrassed regarding doing the cocaine inside that hotel with that no name boyfriend, she never named him. But man, what a powerful lesson. He got his infamy because that's a story. Maybe he was in another bar or with another girl tricking her about her worth. And he said, "That's me," she's talking about. And I imagine many of your distorted dusties will be doing the same. But don't you ever give them infamy and say their name. Okay? Teach about it if you have to. Talk about it. Think about it. Release it. The switcheroo is now they watch you. They put you in a third party. Now you move on with a soulmate. You're not in a third party. You did it healthily. You did it actually. You did it without cheating. You didn't do anything wrong. You got the right person. They came along, they manifested because the way that we were broken down means that we had to be loved back to life. It started with us separating and doing it right. And then the universe and the angels stepped in and said, "You're going to have a hell of a night or a hell of a life because you've been in hell. And now we're going to give you the sweetest taste of heaven." And that is part of the karma for that distorted, dusty masculine is to watch you while they lock themselves in immediately and quickly out of spite, out of cruelty, out of their own insecurities to something that they never vetted that was never for them. But that was a relationship that was for them. You know? That's something that I had to release in order to grow. I was happy that the person that I once cared about so much had a partner, even if I felt the things I felt about their partner, and I knew the things I knew spiritually too. And I knew how it would turn out, and I knew the damage that would be done. I was just happy that she had someone, which was more than I could say she ever wished for me. Because a lot of your dusty, divine, distorted liars wished you to have nobody. That's why they were holding on to you energetically while still keeping their karmic. They were thinking it's the best of both worlds. This one loves me completely, makes me feel grounded. This one's fucking me like crazy, whatever they needed, right? And that's not to say that we are not baddies when it comes down to some good sexual energy. In fact, you know what the funny part about that is? This is my favorite part about this. Our sexual energy is absolutely delicious, but it's much better in a higher vibration. When you're with a distorted masculine, you're never going to ascend to tantric levels of communication, telepathy, and connection because they're lying all the time, and they're causing insecurities and they're triggering you. So you can't really rest in your femininity the way that you can do when a soulmate comes in. And even for me, that it's platonic, I am resting in my femininity and also embracing my masculinity. I'm so balanced in my relationship, and so is my soulmate. She is masculine energy when she's a business person, winning at life and getting promoted all the time and like just climbing and doing all the things. I'm a business person and my masculine energy with my business and the things that it brings, but we both rest in our femininity. We both have self-care rituals. We both love ourselves separately, not codependently. And then when we're together, it's lovely. And we do stuff together too. But what I will tell you is to be with a balanced soulmate means you can be ultimately you. I am just as girly as I want to be, and I can be just as forceful as I need to be, and vice versa. She can boss me. I love it. I live for it because she does it beautifully. It's gently because she's in her femininity. When you're with a distorted masculine, you're out of your femininity. You are in masculine energy because you are chasing and wondering and worrying and doing all this stuff that was never meant for us to do. And you're not getting communication either. So that's something you're deprived of, which is something that we need as feminine energy. We need communication, right? We need validation from our partner. I feel so supported. And that's something you will feel too, but that's not something you felt in your twin flame journey. You felt triggered and you felt lonely. Yeah, I know because I was there. And I didn't understand it because I gave so much care. People pleasing, overgiving, codependency. That's what's stripped away from you when you leave and abandon the twin flame journey. They abandon you long before you ever walk away, so don't let them gaslight and guilt trip you. That was a little game she liked to play, and I thought it was cute and hilarious. I was like, girl, you do understand that I read real books, right? Like, you can't pull this shit on me. But I needed to go through that. Even though I knew better, I still had to experience that part of the journey so I could talk to you about it tonight. Don't leave just out of spite, guys. Leaving was probably the hardest thing I ever did because I left and God said the net will appear. I didn't know that the soulmate was there, even though she was already there. Does that make sense? Some of you guys have people around you right now that you don't realize are going to be so instrumental in healing you in the most lovely and gentle of ways. But I leapt. I did not know that there was going to be a bestie. I did not know there was going to be a soulmate. I didn't know the depth of connection we would have that would far supersede what I had in the past. I had no idea. I just left because I loved myself too much. Like Oprah in that hotel, I thought, this is bullshit. I don't deserve this. Not after what I have given. And for many of us, it's years and years. And for me, it was. And I knew that there would be consequences that would be far reaching and domino affecting, that would be planning out years and years in her life and her child's life. And I knew that I would go broke trying to make it right when she wanted to leave me broken. That's why you leave that distorted masculine, to put yourself together. They will only leave you in fragmented pieces. You don't leave out of spite to be like, watch me go get a new boo. That's nothing I ever thought I would do. In fact, I was like, I'm never having friends again. I don't want a soulmate again. I don't want a twin. I don't want nothing. I was so disgusted with that person, with that shell of a human. But the truth is, that was not the vision that God had for me. He said, "Oh yeah, you will love again." Hold on, guys. He said, "Oh yeah, you will love again." And the only way for you to heal some of these wounds is to let new love into you. Message. That's the greatest of switcheroos. Letting the new love into you. It takes time. I will try to advise you to do what I didn't do, which was not to be suspicious immediately and to not trust that the new love is true and that they only want to care for you completely. Never felt so loved in my life. And it makes it laughable to think back to the strife that I thought was love. It was nothing but struggle. Struggle love isn't love, guys. It's a terrible toxic model that a lot of us have had in our parental units from childhood that we have mimicked. Which partner for you was your divine masculine? Was he your mother or was he your father, right? I had to figure out which one mine was, and I had to move on with my life. Again, what did Tupac say? I don't wish anything bad for you because you're my enemy. I just don't want you to eat with me, actually, because I'm not feeding you and your third party and their third party and their third party. It's a mess over there, guys. Open your eyes, do all of your crying, and then ask God to send you first. And when you're ready, someone who knows your worth. And I promise you're going to get it because you knew your worth first. It's the only way through. The only way through pain is to go through loving first and only you, and then the soulmate will gravitate and magnetize to you, or you'll magnetize to each other mutually. Reciprocity. Everybody's proud, everybody's happy, everybody's making trips to see each other. For me, as I said to Bestie, I don't have to wonder. From surgeries to fun to casual to whatever, we have, it's amazing. It's everything I ever dreamed could be without all the pain, without all the rejection, without all of the insanity, without all the mental illness. It doesn't mean that my soulmate didn't have her own story and her own moments in life. To me, she's, I value her, but what I will say is that I kind of like that about her. She's seasoned in a way that makes sense to me, and she respects and gets my energy, and the person that comes in for you will do the same. I don't have to hide who I am. Not one single thing. She loves every bit of it. She's not secretly hating, secretly judging, secretly gossiping about me with family members, secretly pretending that she's something else. None of that's happening. She's not secretly repressed. None of it's happening. I'm just able to be myself. Raunchy, body, funny, sexual, not sexual, sad, depressed, emotional, a teacher, bombastic, loud, quiet, introspective, funny. I get to be all parts of me colorfully. I get to be black. That was really important for me to have an ally and not a racist, backbiting, I don't even have words. It's crazy to me what I thought was a full plate when it was just the most meager of crumbs that I would take. That's okay. And that's why I want to say to you guys, it wasn't okay in the time, but it's okay now. That person's with the person that she's supposed to be with. Whether they're together today or tomorrow, they fighting, not whatever. I don't care. That's the magic of divesting from the energy. Is that you know I can't even tap into it. I don't read it. I don't do any of that, guys. And that's what I do for a living. I don't look, I don't care. I kept one connection energetically. That is still there, and nothing else to her because I knew that it would be a disaster. A lot of you guys had twin flames that were disasters, and it was only there to teach you about your worth. Remember, you're Oprah in that hotel room. Maybe the line of coke is in front of you. Maybe you just did it. Maybe you're looking yourself in that dirty bathroom mirror. But girl, if you are in there, then I'm talking back to you. Wake up. Knock, knock. That's not what we divine feminines do. It's okay to have a moment. It's okay to lose yourself. It's okay to not know your full worth. But then we pull ourselves out of the dirt and we plant ourselves someplace else into the light. And the universe sends in a soulmate who shines bright. But it's because you chose to water yourself first. I love you guys so much. Come back and join me next time. And we will continue to. Oh, I have people here. Masinius, hello. Rain, hello, sweet pea. Just Siri. Hey, everyone. Jess, it's my B-Day. Oh, happy birthday, Jess. You are so welcome for another video, but happy birthday to you. I'm going to give you the culture. You're invited to the cookout, Jess. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jess. Oh my gosh, wishing you all of the happiness, all of the expansion this year, all of the magic. It is here for you. I do not have my cards with me, or I do a mini read for you. But happy birthday, Jess. We love you so much. Jess is such an integral part of the community. Jess is what happens when you step away from insanity. Jess is just a kindred spirit and a friend in my life, but she's what I prayed for that friends could be like. And she's a parasocial friend, but friend nonetheless. Energetically, she's truly supportive, she's intelligent, she's got her own stance, backbone, and opinions, and she has her own channel too, so go check that out. Happy birthday to you. That's what happens when you divest from crazy. Everything in your life expands, guys, including your friendship life too, right? You get new soulmates, you get new booze, you get new friends and kindred soul sisters and all of that. The best things in my life have happened to me the second to stop letting someone play mind games with me, and they knew the whole time exactly what it was. It was the greatest trick I played on myself. A lot of us did it, right? A lot of us played tricks on ourselves and pretended that we didn't understand that they understood exactly who we were because it was easier and it felt less painful. But I think the truth was it was more painful to linger there while they kept you in fear and insecurity and third parties with people that couldn't even wait your table. You know, that's another video I'm going to make here, but they wanted you to consort with peasants and then they judged you because you knew who you were and your worth. If if Jasmine's in the city, didn't people in Aladdin say, "What are you doing here? You're the prince, the whatever"? There are a million movies made of that ilk regarding us not knowing a woman or a divine feminine or a person of royalty or Oprah in that bedroom with the cocaine guy, not knowing their worth, and everyone else can see it, but you. But we think we're hiding out, we're slumming, and that's what a lot of us like to do when we're dealing with our twin flame distorted destiny person. Yeah, so it's okay for you to say I don't want to consort with peasants. You know, we're all taught, especially in this humility, this faux humility of femininity, that we should like not that we're better than anybody. No, you shouldn't treat anybody like they are beneath you. You should treat everybody equally. You should talk to everybody. Talk to the homeless person. One of my favorite conversations ever in life was a homeless chat with a guy who had no shoes who offered me wine in Paris. Okay, I didn't drink it just because of caution, but he was lovely. He was cultured and intelligent and funny, spoke many languages, and we chatted for about 30 minutes on a park bench after I got lost in Paris. It was delightful. You are not better than people, but there are lower vibrational energies that you are not to consort with. And I say consort because that's what it would be to engage with peasants. And I say that because they are behaving peasantly. They are in their lower vibration, which we all can be. We all have it, guys. So we are not any better in that regard. But if we have evolved, then yes, you don't go back. I talked about being on the plane recently in first class and having this moment with this guy where I offered to buy him a drink. We were getting along swimmingly, and he said he'd take a Coke Zero, and that's because he was a recovering addict. Did he think he was better than me because I was having a cocktail? No, but he wasn't going to go back to where he had been through hell, to where he had to drag himself out of, to where he had to be in recovery, to now he had ascended to being a coach and a sponsor for people. He wasn't going to ruin his 12 or 11 years of sobriety just to consort with me. And it doesn't mean that I was a peasant in that moment, but it does mean that I was enjoying something or having a drink and he wasn't going to, because he'd already killed that demon for him. For me, it's not a demon. Everybody has their own demons they have to slay. But do I judge him or look down on him on any way? Or did I think he was looking down on me? No, I just know he didn't want to be in that energy because for him, it is toxic. A lot of us were in these third party dynamics or with toxic frenemies or whatever, toxic narcissistic best friends, covert narcissists, y'all name it, right? And when we realize who we are and we start to pull away, oh, you think you're better than us. I just don't want to be like depressed for the rest of my life. I just don't want to be impoverished. I just don't want to catch your karma. Like for real, you can catch people's karma. I don't want to switch lives with you. I don't want to switch timelines with you. I don't want to be taking care of you and all these other crazy people that will never be mentally medicated properly. Not to say that we don't have mental illnesses ourselves, guys. It is to say that we recognize it, we deal with it, and we are striving daily to ascend. I was talking to a subscriber in the comments. I don't know if it was Symbala or somebody else, but they were saying that they had a South Node in Scorpio. And I was so proud of them. And I was speaking life over them and saying, you will ascend through that. Because it doesn't mean that she's damned for life. We all have South Nodes in something, which means that we have to ascend through that in order to get to the North Node and live our life better. But I was proud of her because I liken this to people like this. When we have any kind of sickness or mental illness or whatever, we can stay there or we can get treatment. And just the mere fact that Symbala, it's not a mental illness or a sickness, but was acknowledging where her South, so if it's not Symbala, forgive me if it's not you, but just the fact that whoever was acknowledging where their South Node was means that they were aware of it, cognizant of it, and they could fix it. You get it? It doesn't mean that if they have other friends that are in a South Node that they can never talk to them, but it can mean that they won't get sucked into maybe the dark vibration that happens when you have a South Node in Scorpio. There's a lot of work to do for all of our South Nodes. That's literally what the South Node is about, the hardest work, the past life karmic. So that's what I want you guys to understand when I say consorting with peasants. It doesn't mean you're an evil person. It does mean, but here's the funny thing. I made all of this noise and wasted all of this hot air to qualify the thing. But a lot of us were around people that thought that they were better than us and they wouldn't qualify a thing. They wouldn't have wasted even a fraction of that breath to make the clarification. And that in and of itself, I rest my case. We don't consort peasants who would never allow us the same grace. You get it? All right. I love you guys. So good. Happy birthday. Sweet, sweet, sweet Just Theory. Love you so much. Have a wonderful night. Come back and join me next time. We'll continue to evolve together.